The male ego can be a blessing and a curse, depending on, well, how you utilize it. We often get told these things about the male ego, about how men are egotistical and, chauvinistic, or want to have pissing contests and all this kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's a sound amount of truth in that statement. That it's amazing what a male's ego can get him caught up in. But on the flip side, I think there is, in the right circumstances, and when you learn how to utilize it and control it, a good place for it. Competition, being competitive, the drive to win, the need to dominate, the need to win every competition that you enter. I think these are important factors, and even just amongst friends, to, well, win and beat them. There's one that my wife sent me the other day, and it's love of my life, but for the next 15 minutes you are my mortal enemy while we play this game. And look, that one's a bit of a joke, but in the general settings of it, I think there is a lot to be said for a competitive nature. There is a lot to be said for the need to win. Well, because without it, what the fuck are you doing? Without it, that's how you sit on the sidelines. Without it, that's how you just... You get these guys who have done fuck all with their life, who never want to achieve anything, who never want to do anything, who never push towards being anything special. Because you need that desire to win. You need that killer mentality, like that Mamba mentality. And it's actually something, I think, if you're lacking that competitive edge, that competitive desire, that, well, you're not going to do anything in life. Because that need to compete, to win, to dominate, to be the best, well, that's a really important factor. That's a really important skill to have to become great, as I said. Because, well, if you don't have that, you're not going to put in effort. You're not going to fight. You're not going to get into things. You're not going to compete to be the best version you can be. Because, well, why would you? If you don't have a need to win, what the fuck's the point of putting in effort to compete? There isn't. There isn't a reason. And it's why it's so important. And I also think, like, if we're talking health and fitness, if we're talking that kind of thing, I think it is so crucial to have other men who have the same kind of mindset as you, the same goal, the same drive, the same competitive nature to train with. Because they're going to push you to be better. They're going to push you to your limits. They're going to force you to level up. And as I said, it's a blessing and a curse, and you have to find the fine line on that. You have to learn when to use that competitive nature and when to let it ride. When to recognize that maybe today isn't your day. Because, there's being pushed to higher levels, and then there's ego lifting. There's a fine line between the two of those. But I had it today. I was working out with my mate, and in most circumstances, in nearly every lift, I win. Like, unquestionably, hands down, I am the stronger out of the two of us. Except on back. That man's back is just phenomenal, and he has farm strength from that. His back is all of that. But today it was good to be pushed, because I had a weight, especially on some of the rows and things, and I was like, that's the weight. That's the limit. We were doing 6 to 8 reps. We were pushing to failure. And I was like, okay, well, that's the limit. And then he went up, and I was like, oh, fuck, no. Am I having that shit happen? Not in my house. And so I matched him. Lo and behold, I hit the same number of reps. Still maintained the form. I checked the form. I made sure, we weren't cheating. For whatever reason, there was a psychological block. Next round, the same thing happens again. Going 6 to 8 reps. Hit another 7 reps. Sometimes you just need to be pushed, and you'll find out what you're capable of. You'll have to find a new level, a new gear. And I think it's so important because it keeps pushing you forward. Your body's telling you that you're done, and sometimes you need your ego to come in and be like, come on, buttercup, it ain't that fucking weak, let's go. And you elevate the game. But also in the mental component and the camaraderie and the friendship and the brotherhood, I think it's really important to have men train together. It's part of what I'm trying to build here. I'm trying to build a community of men to uplift and support each other. Yeah, just in their training, but in all areas. Because I think that's something that we are missing these days. These strong, confident, competitive men who are pushing their greatness, who are demanding greatness of themselves, who are demanding more of their lives. That's a rare fucking breed. Rare fucking breed. And so I think it's important to have a place where you can talk to, communicate, hang out with, have a community of men like that. And that's what I'm working to build, because we need that. We really, really need that. We need a place where men can uplift each other and support each other. Because, as we know, there is also the mental health struggle of this. Like I talk about, demanding greatness, and you've got to do the work and discipline over everything, but mental health is still a factor in that. Part of why I think you have to demand it of yourself and continue to push forward and continue to do the work is because of the mental capacity, the mental health side of it, that I think inaction does more damage to our mental health than anything else. I think the inaction of not doing the work is more dangerous and more depressing and more, I'm trying to find the word for this, but like debilitating is probably the word. That the inaction, when you let the noise in your head get too much, I think it compounds that. I think it makes it worse, and then it exacerbates the situation. And I think that's why the zero choice mentality, the no days off, the every single day, it's for mental health as much as it is to demand greatness. I think that's a bigger part of this. I think that's the factor that we're overlooking. That you need this for your mental health. Fuck, that's why I train every day. It's my recalibrator. It gets my mind right. Clears out the noise and the demons in my head. Allows me to channel all the shit that I've got going on into one place, into a positive aspect. If you've been listening for a while, you know that I found fitness because I was suicidal. It was my saving grace. It was the thing that pulled me out of the darkness. It was what allowed me to channel all my pain and my suffering and the darkness that I was in into something. I channeled it into my muscles and, built something. I used the pain to create something great. It's what keeps me sane. I don't understand people who don't use it that way. Like, that's when they're like, take rest days. I was like, oh, you don't understand. You don't understand what's up here. You don't understand how that's my calming thing. It's why I go so hard. It's why I push so hard, because it keeps everything at bay. It keeps all of that. It allows me to address it and work through it and have a place to put that pain. It's my mental get me in the zone thing. And I think more men need that. I think they need an outlet that's going to allow them every single day to have something to channel for the positive. Men, if you have testosterone, which I'm hoping you fucking do, have aggression, they have competitiveness, they have drive, they have this need to compete and win and dominate and get out and release the beast. They have that feeling, they have that need. So we need a fucking outlet. And that's what the weight room is. Fucking go bang away at the weights. Compete against something, compete against you. It's you against you. Banging that shit out, building a better version of you. using all of that aggression and pain and whatever you've got going on into something that is positive. Because isn't that what this is all about? Building something positive, building greatness, becoming the greatest version of yourself, demanding it. And yeah, so you want to be the greatest version of yourself? Yeah, it demands that you demand every day. Demands that you demand. God, that was a sentence and a half, wasn't it? But you get what I mean. That it's about you have to go out and demand your best version every single day. That you demand greatness of yourself every single day. That you're putting in the work. That you channel that ego into something that's going to deliver greatness for you. That you channel that ego into, well, something beneficial. But we need it. We need that ego. We need that competitive edge. And look, I don't think you should ever compare yourself to others, but I think you should compete against others. There's a fine line between the two of those statements. And a lot of them get them wrong. Comparison is the thief of joy. Competition is what makes you great. Because you got to prove that you're the best. But it doesn't mean comparing yourself. It's about competing against them. Compete against yourself. Compete against them. Compete to be the greatest version of yourself. And because it's fucking fun. When you unleash that beast and you push and you find a new gear and you find another level, that shit's fucking fun. Oh, lights you up. And there's something different. Look, I have spent a lot of my life training by myself, and I've also spent a lot of my life training with people. They each have their benefits. When you're in a dark place, sometimes you want to be alone and you just want to be you and the iron and you just want to bang away. And that's fine. But on a general basis, I think it's better to have people to train with. Especially if you can get a big group of guys and you're doing similar kind of concepts and you're just fucking competing, pushing each other, seeing where you can end up, having fun, letting it out. That's a great thing to have. That's a great benefit to have in your life. And like this morning, as I said, I was training with my mate. And we fucking pushed it today. He pushed me. And I fucking loved it. And a couple of times, like, we're having jokes and stuff. Like, I'm grinding out that last fucking rep. I'm going bright red and stuff. You know. The dickhead goes, are you going to shit yourself? And I'm like, no. But I know that I got stronger today. I know that I got better. I know that I improved today. And I got way more out of it because he was there to push me. And I got way more out of it because, you know, we've discussed before, men are side-by-side creatures, whereas women are front-by-front creatures. And what that means is that men to have connection and relationships need to be doing shit. They need to be side-by-side. So watching TV, playing video games, playing board games, working out, playing sports, whatever the fuck it is. They are at their best side-by-side. To have that connection, to have that development, that kind of stuff. Women are front on front. And that's why often great relationships for men, and I'm not saying this is exclusively always true, but it's more often than not true. But more often than not, men who have great relationships are built around doing things together. Hobbies, training, sport, whatever the fuck. That's why. They generally work better if they have something to do to keep themselves occupied while they hang out and have the conversations. And that's what training is. You know, and that's what it's all about. It's about finding your group, finding your team, finding your tribe, your brotherhood, and connecting. As I said, that's what I'm trying to build. But I also think you should have it in the physical aspect because of the internet, we're able to now open that up and worldwide, and you can connect with so many people and have that community and that tribe and that brotherhood in all across the world. You know, I'm part of one, and a lot of them are based in America and Canada and places like this, and we get on like a house on fire. But I'm building an online community, but I also think you need to have that physical camaraderie. So yeah, get into demanding greatness and let's build that community together. But also, bring your mates in. Bring your mates who you hang out with, bring them in and do this shit together. Do demanding greatness together and watch how much further you take this shit. When you get to be in the trenches together, pushing each other, battling together, forging that bond. Because you will. You'll forge a bond as you fucking destroy yourself while rebuilding yourself through fitness. And you'll become better men because of it. You'll get better results of it. And you'll have a brother from it. And yeah, I know those terms are thrown around a lot, but they're fucking true. Like, they're fucking true. Men need that. They need that tribe. They need that. That's why we're drawn to sports. That's why we're drawn to those kinds of things, that you need to go through battles together. You need to go through war and hardship together. And look, we don't as much have that need for the military. I have the utmost respect for the military, but we're not going to world wars anymore. So if you aren't in the military, this is the next thing that you do. We work out together. We train together. We go to the war of the minds and the physical capacity together. That's how you build your tribe, and that's how you create something special within yourself. So if you're ready to take that first step, if you're ready to take the first step together, to join that community and to start building that, and you be the leader, the first one to do it, well, click the link in my bio. Let's get you into demanding greatness. Let's start that process and let's see who you can become. Lead by example and bring your mates in and build a tribe together. Build that bond and see who you can become together on the other side of that. Can't wait to see you there. Until then.